Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Ahmad Zaki bin Adam. I will explain about chapter 5. For questions A, we have been asked to find whether the average living cost of the customers are more than 3,000. So I will show you the steps how to find it. For the first steps, we need to do the hypothesis. Second, we need to find the level of significance. And third, we need to find the stat in bracket t-test. The fourth step is we need to determine the decision rule. And lastly, we can make a conclusion that there is no sufficient evidence to support the claim that the sample mean response greater than 3,000. Next, for the questions B, we need to determine whether any significant differences exist in vacation number per year among customers with different levels of education. First, we need to sort the education data and make a new table for it. Then, we go to data at the ribbon and click data analysis. Choose ANOVA single factor, put the input range and tick labels in first row. After that, click OK. After that, we analyze the data and make conclusion that there is no significant differences exist in vacation number per year among customers with different level of education. Next, we will move to the question C. For the question C, we need to know if education level and marital status are related for all respondents. First step, we need to create the pivot table. Tick the respondent relationship status and education. Second step, we need to drag educations to column, drag relationships to row, and drag sum of respondents to value. Copy the pivot table and paste under it. Next is we need to calculate the observed values and estimated values. After that, we can calculate the chi-square. After done all the steps, we can make an analysis and conclusion. I can conclude that the preferences of types of education levels and marital status are not related to each other. That's all for me. Thank you.
So I will explain for chapter 6. This is the data, factors affecting economic growth in Malaysia data. For question A, construct and examine the correlation matrix. To construct the correlation matrix, click the data analysis, find correlation, and then for the input range, just drag growth, unemployment rate, interest rate, trade, and inflation rate. So you will obtain this data. So for question B, are there any multicollinearity issue among the independent variable? So my answer is no. It is because multicollinearity is an issue when two independent variables are highly correlated. So multicollinearity exists when there is only strong relationship between independent variables. And the value must be more than 0.7 to make it as multicollinearity. So for question C, suggest an appropriate set of independent variables that predict the economic growth in Malaysia by examining the correlation matrix. But for this question, we did not use correlation equation, but we use regression equation. So click at the data analysis, find regression, click OK, and for the input Y range, I put growth, and for input X range, I put all others than year and growth, which are unemployment rate, interest rate, trade, and inflation rate. So I click all the residuals and normal probability. So I will obtain residual output and probability output also, and all these 9 graphs. For question D, find the best multiple regression model for predicting the economic growth in Malaysia. So I use the regression equation data. As you can see for the R square, it is approximately 12% of variation in growth is explained by the unemployment rate, interest rate, trade, and inflation rate. So for the significant F is 0.405, which is more than level of significance. The level of significance is 0.05. So the null hypothesis is failed to reject. The p-value for all independent variables are more than 0.05. So we can conclude that the coefficients are not statistically significant. And the last question is question E. Develop a test on assumption or normality and interpret your finding. So I use histogram graph. As you can see, this is normally distributed by seeing the graph. That's all from me. Thank you.